I will teach the geotechnical engineering laboratory, the defined types of the soil testing, and this is very important because most of the structure rests on the earth. So, it is very important to know the characteristics of the soil and rock. Without proper testing, if anybody wants to construct any kind of the infrastructure, then there will be a disaster and there will be a great problem to the society and also to the engineers. So, it is very important to know the proper kind of the testing of the soil. As you know that soil is a heterogeneous material. So, testing characteristic is not the same as like a concrete. So, it varies its testing characteristic. So, we will deal that different types of the testing in geotechnical engineering laboratory and how to perform the different types of the test, how to evaluate the properties of the soil materials. So, we have give the two courses in that is geotechnical engineering laboratory, that is 1, and geotechnical engineering laboratory 2. So, these are the two courses are generally we will offer, and we will talk about these two courses, different types of the testing. Now, what we wanted to focus here, that what kind of module 1, that first we can talk about the soil processing. So, how to process the soil, this is primarily is very important for any kind of the soil testing. So, outline of this I will just discuss about the content of the course and some of the references which you can go through these courses and these references which will be helpful to you. The geotechnical engineering laboratory will cover that module 1, that is content soil processing, and module 2, the specific gravity of the soil, module 3, that field density, module 4, grain size analysis, and module 5, consistency limit of soil, and module 6, laboratory compaction test. Now, module 7, laboratory permeability test, module 8, shear strength test, module 9, laboratory consolidation test. So, we will cover all this lecture. So, what are the target audience for this course? So, this course will be very much useful to undergraduate and the postgraduate student and researcher in civil engineering, earth science, geology and geotechnical engineering. Consulting or practicing engineers, government official, policy, decision maker and implementation on NGOs, professor, specifier, project designer, distributor, contractor and manufacturer. And for this course, that requirement prerequisite is via knowledge about the basic soil mechanics and foundation engineering or geotechnical engineering. So, one should know this prerequisite courses, then it will be very much helpful, then he will be knowing how to perform the different types of the soil testing. I am just doing some of the reference, you can go through these references, this will be very much helpful to you. So, this is the author Burns J.E. 1979, that physical and geotechnical properties of soil. This is McGraw-Hill publisher. there is a code specification BS 1377 part 1 to 8 method of test for soil for civil engineering purpose, that is British Standard Institute. Then head KH 1982, the manual of soil laboratory testing, and IS 2720 various parts, the method of test for soil, that is Bureau of Indian Standard. There is a book also, the Lambe 1951, soil testing in civil engineering, Worley and Son. Apart from that, you can go through the books Mandal Jain and Dipsikar DG 1994, soil testing in civil engineering, Oxford and IBH Publishing Company Private Limited, New Delhi. So one can go through these references. So the issue, why do you need to study this course? Our main aim and objective, that to be world class center for excellency in soil testing and other related product for the benefit of the mankind around the world. Enhancing how elementary theoretical knowledge and observation of engineering performance assist and inspire creativity in the rational application of soil testing. So with this aim and objective, we can start the chapter 1, that is soil processing. So this is very important, how to process the soil. And for this aim and objective is, first of all, that you have to collect the soil, and then you have to break the lump and clods in a given soil. Then you separate it into the representative sample to determine hygroscopic moisture content of the soil. So with this aim and objective, we will go to the introduction. This is a fully representative soil sample as received from the field shall be used. The clods should be broken with a wooden mallet, that is hammer, quickly without breaking the individual solid grains. The organic matter like tree roots or pieces of bark and the shell should also be separated from the main soil mass. When sample are to be taken for estimation of the organic content, total sample should be taken for estimation without removing the shell, roots, etc., whatever it contains. So one has to be careful about the how to process the soil. Now the pulverization of the soil is carried out, and the pulverized soil is passed through the required sieve until sufficient quantity of soil is obtained. So we have the number of the sieve. This is size of the particle more than passing through 90% passing, and these are the sizes, that is 0.475 to 4.75, 9.5, 19 and 37.5. This is quantity of the soil required for water, quantity of soil required for grain complex determination. So this is the size of the maximum, the size of the material and present in the situation. You can see here that minimum mass of the soil specimen, there is 25, 50, 200, 300 when you passing through this sieve, 500 and the 1000. Similarly, maximum size of the material present in the substantial quantity, that is again 75, 37.5, 19, 13.2, 9.5, 6.7 and 4.75, and mass of the soil kg is 60, 25, 6.5, 3.5, 1.5, 0.78 and 0.4. In quantity of the soil at and its gradation required for the various laboratory study. So, we require that what should be the specific gravity, that is fine grained soil. The what is the amount of soil required, and then passing through IS sieve size. So, for the specific gravity fine grain you require 50 gram and passing through the percentage is 2 millimeter. Specific gravity of coarse grain, that amount of soil required about 400 gram. Liquid limit you require 270 gram, and passing of sieve about 0.4 to 5 millimeter. For plastic limit you require 60 grams, and then it passed through 0.45 to millimeter. Sinkage limit you require amount of soil about 100 gram and is passing through 0.45 to millimeter. For compaction you need 6 kg of soil and it should pass to 19 millimeter. Consolidation 500 gram, relative density 12 kg, CBR, that is California bearing ratio, you record 6 kg and passing through the sieve of 19 millimeter. Free soil index you record 20 gram and passing through the sieve 0.4 to 5 millimeter. Soiling pressure you record 2 kg and passing of sieve about 2 millimeter. So, one should know the idea about how much quantity of the soil required for the specific different kind of the testing, and what should be the passing of the sieve size. So, that one should know initially for any kind of the soil testing. So, for the soil testing you require some equipment and the accessory. So, you require that galvanized or enamel tray, little bit bigger size. You need the wooden or rubber mallet. You require scoop, spatula, container for preserving the soil sample. Then also you have to follow up the Indian standard sieve number 400, that is 4.7 millimeter, or BS 3 by 16 inch. Then moisture cane, weighting balance with accuracy up to 0.01 gram, and the diving oven. So, these are the equipment accessory are required for soil testing. I will show you some of the equipment and the accessory in my next slides. So, this the equipment are required. This is the scoop, and this is the you can say wooden mallet is here. This is the soil sample inside this container, and this we use this container, we fill up with the soil, and also we determine what will be the weight of the soil, what will be the dye weight of the soil, and this is the oven in which you can keep this container into the oven for the drying at a particular temperature and that particular time, in order that soil can be dry, and then you can determine what will be the weight of the soil and what will be the weight of the dry soil, and also you can determine that what will be the moisture content of the soil. This is the oven dried sample, and this is the spatula, and this is the tray. So, these are the equipment generally we use for this soil testing. So, next we will go for the procedure. So, write the soil number, whatever the soil you collected. So, you should know that what kind of the soil, what will be their number, what will be the batch and the group on the identification slip, and paste it on the tin containing the soil sample. Then transfer all the raw soil from the tin to a big size galvanized iron tray and pound the soil with the rubber mallet until all the big soil clots and fumes are properly broken. After pounding, the overall soil is thoroughly mixed with the scoop, so that proper representative soil sample can be taken. Place 1000 or 500 gram of the representative sample in a small enameled tray, and this is required for the gravel analysis. So, whatever the amount at the end it will be, that you have to collect, and then that will be required for the further gravel analysis. Soak the soil placed in the enameled tray by adding the water until the soil is completely submerged. Add a pinch of sodium carbonate to the soaked soil to enhance the separation process. So, the soil should not be clogged, so it could be separated. So, you can add certain amount of the sodium carbonate into the soil. Flush the remaining soil from the big tray through the IS sieve number 480 or 4.75 millimeter diameter opening. The soil sieve through the IS sieve number 480 is then stored in the tin. The soil will be required for the subsequent experiment. So, next we will determination of the moisture content of the soil or the hygroscopic moisture content. So, for any kind of the testing of the soil, initially you should know that what should be the hygroscopic moisture content in the soil and how to determine the moisture content, because moisture content vary to place, soil to soil. So, this is very important to determine the moisture content of the soil, and I will focus how you can determine the moisture content of the soil. So, this procedure is, first of all, note the number of the moisture can in which you have to keep the soil. Second, you weigh it accurately and determine the empty weight of the moisture can provided for the purpose along with the lid. Let this weight be W1 gram. Thirdly, take about 20 to 30 gram of the given weight soil in the can and weight it again, and let this weight be W2 gram. Then keep the can containing the soil for 24 hours in an oven set at 105 degrees centigrade to 110 degrees centigrade, and this can should be left open, but the lid retained for the later use. So, you should know that how you can put the soil into the container and how you can put it into the oven for drying at a particular temperature of 105 to 110 degree for the 24 hour. Then the entire soil will be the dry. And then after completion of the drying, cool the container in a desiccator to room temperature. Then weight it. Let this dry weight be W3 gram. Now, knowing all this data, now you can determine what should be the moisture content of the soil. So, the definition of the moisture content of the soil, the ratio of weight of water and the weight of solid into 100, because this in terms of the percentage. So, whatever the weight of water lost during the drying, and that divided by oven dry weight of the soil into 100. You see that in the beginning, that this weight is the W of 2, this is W of 2, and this is weight of wet soil, then this is W 3 dry soil, then dry soil plus W 1 the weight of the container. So, you can divide W 2 minus W 3 divided by W 3 minus W 1 into 100, which will give you that what will be the moisture content of the soil. So, this is I am giving some specification calculation for hygroscopic moisture content. So, one should know, as I told you, that what will be the can number. So, you can go for the 4, 5, 6 of this kind of the test, and you take the average and you determine what will be the average hydrostatic moisture content of the soil. I am just showing one of the serial number, that if the can number is 251, which you are to be pasted in the can, to remember that this is the can number 251. Then you take the empty weight okay, of the can and the lid, which is this W 1 gram, that is 38.969, and then you take weight of the can and the weight soil, that is W gram, that is 54.322, and weight of the can and the lid and the dry soil, that is W 3 gram, that is 53.167. So, knowing this value W 1, W 2 and W 3, so you can determine what should be the hydrostatic moisture content. That means, this is the equation. From this equation you can determine, and this value is coming 8.12, and you take the average like that 4, 5, 6, you want to calculate that different can and the different weight, and then you calculate the what will be the hydrostatic moisture content, and then you take the average of this. Here average about 6.005, and how to calculate, I am mentioning here moisture content. This is 54.322 minus this is 53.167 divided by 53.167 minus 38.950 into 100, that is why 8.12. This is 8.12, that percentage of hydrostatic moisture content of the soil, and this is the weighting balance in which you can measure the dry soil, also the wet soil. This kind of the equipment we generally use. So, now you understand that how to calculate the hydrostatic moisture content of the soil. And this is the specific calculation for different soil or the field moisture content. So, same you can go through the different type of the soil can, and then you define weight, and then you calculate the moisture content. This is detail has been given here. Next, we have to determine the specific gravity of the soil. So, you know that how to determine the hydrostatic moisture content of the soil. Now, we will determine the specific gravity of the soil, and moisture content is very important, for any structure construction. You should know that what will be the moisture content of the soil on the site. Next, that determination of the specific gravity. The aim and objective to determine the specific gravity of the soil. So, specific gravity of the soil solid can be defined as weight of a given volume of soil particle to the weight in the air of an equal volume of distilled water at a temperature of 4 degree centigrade. So, used in a returning weight of soil to its volume. Knowing the specific gravity of the soil makes it easier to compute the value of void ratio, porosity and the degree of saturation. So, if you determine the specific gravity of the soil, from the specific gravity of the soil, this is very important parameter, then equally you can determine that what should be the void ratio of the soil, what should be the porosity of the soil and what will be the degree of saturation of the soil, knowing the value of the specific gravity of the soil. So, specific gravity also is very important for determination for also other parameter. So, for the determination of specific gravity, we require certain apparatus and the accessory required. So, first you require the what will be the specific gravity bottle. Then vacuum source, that is optional, heat source such as hot plate. You require balance 0.01 gram to 0.1 gram and 1 gram accuracy for 3 different flasks, drying oven and the thermometer, that is graduated up to 0.1 degree centigrade. So, these are the type of the apparatus what you require for the specific gravity. This is the hot plate and this is the oven and this is the weighting balance in which we can weight, and this is the 500 millimeter flask and this is the specific gravity bottle, in which you can determine that what will be the specific gravity of the soil, and you have to maintain the temperature. So, you require also the thermometer. You can measure the temperature. So, procedure for this specific gravity, first of all that you know that determine the hydrostatic moisture content of the soil, sample passing through 4.7 millimeter sieve, wet, clean, dry specific gravity bottle with the stopper empty, and let us this weight is W1. Take about 15 to 20 gram of oven dye soil passing through 4.7 millimeter sieve into the specific gravity bottle and stopper the bottle and weight again, let the weight be W2. Add small amount of DR distilled water to the soil such that soil is fully submerged in the water, and then boil it on the hot plate for about 30 minutes without any spill out. Remove the stopper while boiling. Cool the bottle to room temperature. Fill it completely with the deaerated distilled water and replace the stopper correctly. Wipe the surface of excess water and weight the bottle. Let the weight of the bottle be W3. Empty the content, clean bottle thoroughly, fill it completely with the distilled water and weight. Let the weight be W4. Then fill the record sheet and calculate the specific gravity of the soil at a temperature of 20 degree centigrade. So, for this specific gravity, this here you can see the specific gravity bottle, and this weight of the bottle W1 is the weight of the empty bottle, and this is W2, this is the weight plus soil, and this is W3, weight with the soil and the water, and then the weight with the water only. So, this is just has shown the illustration to conduct the specific gravity test of the soil. So, how to calculate the specific gravity for open dry soil? Specific gravity is equal to W2 minus W1 divided by W4 minus W1 minus W3 minus W2. So, specific gravity can be measured also W2 minus W1 by W4 minus W1 minus W3 plus W2, that means W2 minus W1 divided by W4 plus W2 minus W1 minus W3. So, W2 minus W1 is equal to Ws, the weight of the dry soil, that specific gravity is equal to Ws divided by W4, W3, W3. So, knowing this data, so you can determine the specific gravity of the soil. With this I end this course right now. Okay, thank you for listening. If you have any question, please.